No wide fin. We're not doing wide fin.
Why not?
Have you ever seen the meme wide?
No.
Oh.
Rebecca's seen it.
Look this up.
Where do they stretch him or something?
Yeah. So I was walking around very intentionally and, very wide. We are live. We're talking about it on the camera.
No.
Hi, everybody. My name's Aphinity. I'm going to be your host today. We are here with the lovely Devyn Dalton, otherwise known as Asela. And we're also here virtually with Rebecca Shoichet, who is the voice of Sunset Shimmer. And she's right here. Can't you see her? She's right here. Right
I'm
here.
in the box. But wait. Am I floating right? Can I float?
No, you're not floating. No, you're good. You're actually there. We'll tell you if you start floating. We'll let you know because you got to hold yourself to the table. But anyways, so through the magic of the internet, we're doing this today from multiple locations. We're streaming to you today from the unceded territories of the Musqueam people, and we certainly give appreciation to that. And whereas Rebecca is outside of that area, she is a little further away. But
I'm in the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Quaquet, and Stolo First Nations.
There we are.
All my relations.
We have a band member of this Tsleil-Waututh right over there. Sugar actually is a Tsleil-Waututh nation. So
awesome.
So anyways, with that in mind, we are here to talk about voice acting. Talk about this amazing thing that you two were so lucky to be a part of, and it's at least I certainly appreciate that you were, and I know a lot of us just love the work that you did in this thing that we call My Little Pony, and obviously there's many other things that both of you have been involved with. So we're just here to sort of learn a little bit about the two of you and get to know you a little better. So I guess we'll start with the lovely lady who is virtually right to my right here. This is Rebecca. So Rebecca, welcome.
Thank
you. Loved your portrayal of Jessica Rabbit last night. That was great. Or yesterday.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
I regret so much that we couldn't use that line in the script. I know, but no, that was fantastic. Loved what you did, and obviously, that was a very key demonstration of your obvious talent. You're a singer and a performer, from what I understand.
I am, yeah. Well, singing is performing just in not an acting way.
Right. Sorry.
Actually, no, that's not true because I do a lot of acting when I'm singing too. They're having fun with my virtual image right now. I'm floating. This is quite hilarious, you guys. I can pretend that I'm looking at Devyn, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking at Devyn.
No, now she's.
Now you're on top of me.
Oh,
now you're me.
No, I'm Aphinity.
Hey, no, how about we just keep her in the center? Yeah, that works well.
Don't get carried away, you guys.
Yeah, I think he's still coordinating things.
Clearly, I have no control. Like everything on the internet with my life.
Should be good now.
It's just generally how it goes. But one thing you do control very well is your voice, and I think all of us have come to appreciate that after the many years of you singing as Twilight Sparkle, which of course not everyone may know that's the case. Twilight Sparkle was two voices. It was the amazing Tara Strong as well as the very talented Rebecca Shoichet. So. What was that like performing as Twilight and doing that type of thing?
Well, at first it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but really what they assured me when I was recording, they really wanted me to sound as much like my natural sort of pop singing voice as possible. And I think it just kind of fell into place that our voice prints were similar in that sense. But I definitely did listen to some of Tara's work on the character, so that if in certain cases, like leading up to, I think it was the Morning in Ponyville, that musical theater one is pretty amazing. It's when they swap the cutie marks and things like that, and I really had to, because that was a real musical theater type of song. You really had to do a lot of like speak singing, so I really wanted to. Really clearly understand her speech print and her vocal print, and try to emulate that a bit. But often when I tried to push the character, they were like, "Stop, stop doing that. We don't need you. We don't need you to do that. So I was just really lucky, and yeah, it worked out nicely.
No, I think it worked out really well. I think a lot of people had trouble even realizing that it wasn't Tara singing. Yeah.
Yeah, I still get people online going, wait, what? This is like, how many years later? Is it like 12 years later or something?
Oh, I know, and it's everything too. Like it's not just some. Like it was every song basically, was it not? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. So that's like throughout the entire series and movie and everything else. So that's really awesome.
And then singing opposite myself was always interesting with Sunset Shimmer's character. That was like, how do we get these two voices sounding a little different? So it's funny because my natural speaking voice is very close to Sunset Shimmer's voice print, and then I had to kind of adapt my voice a little bit as my singing voice for Sunset Shimmer because I already had my quote unquote natural singing voice for Twilight Sparkle. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is. I remember seeing there's a dub over for Equestria Girls 3, which of course that was a big series for you. And if I remember correctly, that for Friendship Games, the original story was that Sunset Shimmer was supposed to come back to Equestria, and that was supposed to be her kind of return, and that there was a lot of duets between Twilight and Sunset that kind of got axed and then changed to what it was in the end. But I heard a couple of the originals where you're singing back and forth about like a duet basically with yourself, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's and you know, and even in Rainbow Rocks we get I get a Dr. Pepper too.
There's a Dr. Pepper too. American Dr. Pepper even. So yeah.
Oh. I'm so lucky.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't want to bore people. I know I feel like I've told this story a lot of times, but for I wish I could like mime lifting it. Can't quite grab it, so it's also opposite.
No, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. But if you held it above my screen, I could just go like this.
There we go. Okay.
Delicious.
But no, I really like that duet that you did, and I thought it was really cool. I feel sad that it never actually hit the limelight. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, they did do an animatic version of it, which was kind of cool. At least they shared that with the DVD. Remember what DVDs are? They had it as a special extra, and I think it's online. I think people can watch it too.
Yeah, I swear I saw it on the DVD. But anyways, my favorite thing about your the singing was the first time we met was actually at BronyCon the first year, and I was very new. I was helping out, and we were way behind, as every new convention is still trying to figure themselves out. And so I went out to the back and I said, "Does anyone talk to the guests?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Oh, geez." So I went back there. It was actually right here in that door right there, and the stage was facing it's actually the other room, the other side of the ballroom. And I went and said, "Hi, I'm Rob. People call me Aphinity. How you doing?" And you said, "Yeah, I'm Rebecca." And it's like I think we were both each other's first introduction to this world in a lot of ways. And then you got on stage. Cool. Yeah, and then you got on stage and then you sang "Oh Canada" as Twilight, and I thought that was awesome.
Super cool.
It was very cool. Anyways, so I digress. Thank you very much, Rebecca. I think we'll give Devyn some spotlight here because she is certainly no slouch either. Devyn, I cannot believe your IMDb. And when I was reading the different things that you've done, like you're not just a voice actor. You are a stunt performer. You've done a lot of motion capture. You were in the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I didn't know about that, and that's really cool. So many titles that you've been part of. So like. Obviously, how did that go for you? Like, how did that get started?
Yeah, like I touched briefly yesterday. I started dancing and doing live theater as a kid, and then I moved into film and TV. So I always knew that I wanted to do performance, and it was just kind of naturally what I gravitated to. And then, I think I was just graduating high school, and I had an audition. They said to be an ape. I did not know what motion capture was at the time, and I was like, okay. So I was practicing ape sounds in my apartment, and I'm sure my neighbors were wondering what the heck is going on. And just watching YouTube videos of apes running, and just gave it a try and went to the audition, and and booked it, and then kind of started to understand what motion capture was, because at the time too, motion capture was really new. We really only were introduced to it, through Andy Serkis, who plays the main ape, Caesar, who we all know as the beloved Gollum in Lord of the Rings. So that was kind of the start of motion capture, and then apes actually really developed it a lot, and now we're seeing it in everything. But it was super cool. So a lot of people always are like, oh, were you in like an ape suit? And no, you wear basically pajamas like voiceover, with markers all over your muscles and your facial expressions, and you have a face camera on, and these cool kind of arm extensions, and yeah, you get to run around and be an ape. And it kind of was a beautiful thing for me. I love motion capture because it mixes movement and acting, which is essentially the two things I really like. So dance, movement, and then I still get to act. So I love motion capture. So I did Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and then I came back to do the last one, War for the Planet of the Apes. And yeah, I just love that work. And I've got something else coming out later, probably next year. I'm assuming they'll have it ready next year. It's another little motion capture thing, another ape thing. It's an exciting, fun project for me that I'm super excited about, but I can't say too much.
Can't talk too much, NDAs.
But I've become like the like go-to animal gal. Yeah, so I always get calls for like, yeah, we need you to be a horse, or can you do that? I'm like, sure, which is great because I'm like, oh, ponies, a horse, yeah. So it all just starts to go.
So what you're saying is you're a changeling in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Different animals.
Yeah, but that's how I started doing motion capture, and then through that film, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I didn't know anything about stunts at the time. That's where I kind of got recruited in to do stunts. I was working with the stunt team a lot on it, and obviously it was heavily movement based. So they were like, hey, you have great movement. And obviously, like, I am very petite, if no one has noticed. I am very short. So I got into kind of doubling like creatures and kids. So that's kind of how my stunt career started, and then I started training with all the stunt people, and now I do like martial arts and things like that, and I've really grown to love it. So it's exciting. For me, I love this world in general, and it's a tough, it's a hustling career, because you book a job and then it's over, and then you're back to I have no job. And so even though it's like a job, it's also your passion and love. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, so now I dabble in whatever I can. And then voiceover came a little bit later in my career as well. I was always interested in it, but I didn't quite know about it. And then, luckily my agent just kind of was like, hey, like, you should try voice. And so I got into it, and I did a Barbie movie. And then My Little Pony and some video game stuff, and I do some dubbing for the anime shows as well, which is super fun.
Very big here in Vancouver.
Yeah, it is big here in Vancouver, and it's so much fun. Obviously it's a bit different. My Little Pony, we get the script and we record, and then they do the animation after to our characters. But then with anime, it's a little bit different, because obviously you're dubbing a show that's already been created, and you're kind of matching that actor's speaking. So you're watching on the screen while you're recording, so that you say your line in the same time that the character's moved its mouth, and you have all the reactions. If they're going, obviously you have to have an open mouth reaction, or if their mouth is closed. But it's super fun. It's so fun. Like, I love voiceover. It's definitely one of the most special things, and this show in particular has been really a highlight of my career. And I love that it continues on. It's called My Little Pony, but it really is like the most massive thing ever. And it's been such a, like, it really has like touched my heart, genuinely, meeting everyone. Also in this industry, you do the work, and then you never really meet the people on the other side who watch your work. And so getting to know like more about the whole fan base of My Little Pony, and just what it means, and how much the show has helped people, and how much it's like brought together a worldwide, which blows my mind, a worldwide family. So to be a part of it really just special. And then it's great because I get to meet like Rebecca, who we were mentioning earlier. We've never actually recorded together or met,
No,
but like I mean we've
just
like
in just in
exactly
it
just
in
in audition
auditions and stuff.
rooms. Yeah, where you're just kind of passing by and but yet you kind of just have like an automatic familiarity or bond because you're a part of this wonderful show.
It's a family, right? Like the voiceover
Yeah,
community in Vancouver is like a family. So
it
we,
is.
you know,
Yeah, yeah,
we,
everyone's really loving and welcoming.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's one of the things that I love about this fandom more than anything is just how connected, not just the fandom, but like as you say, like
Yeah.
you guys all seem to really enjoy each other's company, and it's like this
Yeah,
really kind of bonding thing, which is really cool.
it's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. No, the what's up?
We've got
Yes.
with my drink.
props.
Yeah, we have some props here. We had to move. So no, I first of all, like your explanation of Devyn about how you got into how you started with like the acting world, and then you transitioned into also doing voice work,
Yeah.
which is really great. And I know that that's a very common discussion that people have said in the voice
Yeah.
acting realm, like how do you get to be a voice actor?
Yeah.
And the one I've heard anyway, and certainly Rebecca, feel free to chime in on this one too, is you typically start as an actor and then you kind of develop into that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own path for sure. There's many different ways you can get into it. But essentially, voice acting, I mean, it is acting, it is performing, it's like singing, it's like musical theater, dance, anything. So you still have to put in the same kind of training, and all of that will help you because you still have your character, the script, the story. So it is very similar. The only thing is now like you're really just using your voice to express it and not so much on camera. But that's one of the things I also love about it is because it doesn't matter what you look like, what anything like that. You can choose any character you want and be them. And kind of that's like the fun world of it. I like that you're not just kind of stuck in the box of what because obviously if you're cast as a role, they're looking for a certain thing for that role, and like, I'm not actually like a like Shrek, for example, right? It's not like he's like actually an ogre walking around, but you get to be these cool characters that you would never get to do, and then you also just kind of feel like a kid again. So, but yeah, I would say getting into it is basically the same. It's the same thing as acting. You have to put in the training, and just I would say like get out there, get in class, improv, theater, music, anything that you like. It will all translate when it comes to doing voice work.
For sure.
I know that
And
Rebecca. Sorry, go ahead, Rebecca. Yeah,
What do
go
you
ahead.
think?
no, you were going to ask me a question, I think.
No, it was pertaining to acting and so forth because I know that you did some work recently, semi-recently, on your Captain Marvel, which is pretty
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was really cool. She doesn't really talk much because she's so cool. She's just like stop. Cap.
She's
Hey, Cap.
Superman with better hair.
But she's so such a cool character, and I think that was the last session that I did where I got to be in the room with everybody before everything got sort of segregated and physically distanced, and so I think a lot about how lucky we are because it's not all over the world. It's not the same necessarily as Vancouver. A lot of different cities, even in Toronto and in LA and in New York and all those places, there's a lot of prelay stuff that is done separate anyways. But we are so lucky because it's like being on stage where you get to be in a room with a cast. And I really hope that this is gonna, I think that producers in Vancouver are really leaning towards bringing that back when it's safe, because you get such an incredible chemistry when you're already in the room with the other people, and you learn from each other too. I have to say, like when I first started out on prelay stuff, I was in a room with these incredibly like experienced, talented it was awe-inspiring. The group that I got to work with was one of the first shows that I worked on was Kid versus Cat, and I played the brother of Brian Drummond, and who else was in there? And Ian Corlett was there, Vincent Tong, Kathleen Barr, Kathy Westlook, Tabitha St. Germain, Erin, oh my God, Erin, what's her last name? Oh my God, now I have to look her up. I'm sorry, Erin.
So many names. You're doing really well so far, Rebecca.
but my point is, and Trevor Duvall, and my point, Matthews, Aaron Matthews. So my point is about that is that I got to my learning curve because I'd started doing voiceover and doing ADR stuff, so the dubbing, which is very solitary, but you get a lot of great coaching from your directors and such, and and it's so much fun. But you're really not working on a raw new character. But then you watch all these, for lack of a better word, veterans or like incredibly experienced other actors, and you learn. The learning curve goes on like straight through the roof because you just sit there in awe. And one of the hardest lessons I had to learn in prelay was not to laugh out loud because I was working with, it was a very funny script. Boots wrote this hilarious script. Rob Boutier, he's also gone on to do the Snoopy show on Apple TV and the Peanut stuff, and the script is funny. You have to not, like, my hardest thing was not going you're sitting there trying to be quiet when it's not your scene, and just watching these people, like sometimes doing, like Kathleen Barr doing a scene with herself. It's just like mind-boggling and hilarious at the same time. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but I hope we get back in the room. I hope we get back in the room with other actors, because I would love the opportunity to finally get a chance to act with Devyn.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, no, it's really, it's just recording and doing it by yourself. Like you said, you have the director and stuff, and it's great, but exactly, there's just that chemistry where you bounce off of each other, and I think that's what was so special with My Little Pony too, is you're in there recording the episode, so you understand the flow, you understand, I would be there with all the young six. We really did bond like the young six, because we were all the new students when we first showed up for our first day. We were in there with all the OGs and like the voiceover legends in Vancouver, and we were all kind of a little bit newer to voiceover. And so we were like in there like recording with them, and it was just such an honor. And then you really learn also how it goes. And it was a great learning curve, and you bond, and then you really are recording it just like how the episode is. You're in class, like we were the students of the teachers there. And so it just kind of, I think that's why it also was such a success, because you really are making that, it's happening for real as well as in the actual script. So
yeah,
I hope
it's
we get
the
back.
authenticity, right?
I
like
hope
that's what
so.
that's what you grab from
Yeah.
being in a room with people, is that really authentic emotion. And I think that's why this show really speaks to people, is because there's so much genuine love written in the scripts as well as performed by the actors. The actual love is palpable, and it does create a magic that bouncing back and forth for sure.
Totally.
But it can be intimidating going in with the people who are the OGs, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was, but at the same time, that fades so quick because, one, the producers and directors are super awesome as well, and they're just as much fun. Like, they could have their own little voiceover recording going, I'm sure. Like, Terry was a blast, and it was just, it's just like a beautiful thing when you get to, so the intimidation went away pretty quick just because they're such lovely people to work with. So
I know it reflects with how much fun I have working with you guys.
Yeah,
it's like the fact that I know how that must be. It's got to be such an amazing feeling. So we've got some great questions from the audience here. So why don't we get started on these ones? And if you are interested in asking a question, I can't promise we'll get to every question because there's quite a few here. But if you go to our main stage chat in our Discord, I have Bolt. Thank you very much for doing so. He's pinning a lot of the questions just so we can review them. As I said, I can't promise everyone questions is going to get answered, but I see a couple here that are very common kind of questions here. So, Devyn, you've got quite a few here. One in particular, what was your favorite moment voicing Asela?
Oh, wow. I loved, first, I'll say this, when we did the audition for the Young Six, we were given the sides for all of the characters, and you could choose which ones you were going to go in. They only wanted you to read, I think it was for 2 at the time, and it was an in-room audition, which also is rare right now. Most of it is home recordings. And I chose, Asela was the first one I chose. And it was because, like, I loved the auditioning line. It was something about pillows. It was like, pillows, how nice. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love pillows. I have, like, an obsession of pillows. There's, like, a million on, like, I was just really, like, all of her lines I kind of felt like I connected with. So I was so pleased to book Asela. And maybe it's because sometimes you just get roles that you just feel you match with.
Yeah. Do you have any Asela pillows?
Oh, well, I have plushies, and I do have a pillow. I have one pillow, and then I've got, like, this is my little plushie, and I've got another big one, and, like, tons of pins and things. I always go through the vendor halls, and that's one of my favorite things is seeing all the really amazing, cool stuff that everyone makes. Like, I've got a coffee mug, I've got a bag, I've got... yeah, I always go in there and, like, spend a bunch of money and buy them. And it's so cool. You guys are so creative. I love that stuff. So
cool.
But yeah, I guess just, yeah, my heart was set on Asela, and it worked out. And she's just such a sweet character. And, you know, I love how much she came out of her shell. The Christmas episode was really fun to record because it was just, like, very Asela, how she was reading everything practical, like, okay, now we'll do carols, carols, carols. And, like, I thought that was a really sweet episode, and it was kind of fun because we got to see, like, a little home bit of each of the Young Six. So I loved that episode. But really, it was just kind of the whole journey and how she, like, came out of her shell more, which I kind of related with, too, because even though I'm a performer, I'm very shy at times, which I find so funny. But I could relate to her kind of, like, once she was comfortable, she started to just feel more of herself.
Yeah, like you saw the character growing into who she was. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's it seems like everyone has a very deep connection with their characters.
Yeah.
As time goes on, certainly. I mean, sometimes you're just reading a line, and that's fair enough. But you can always tell when someone like yourself really puts themselves into it, and you could feel that with the Asela. I know I'm not the only one feeling that. So.
Awesome.
Rebecca, question for you. It says, this is a fun one, actually. Well, actually, there's a couple here. So, what are your thoughts on Sunset Shimmer of Equestria Girls being, like, incredibly popular? And the reference they give is to Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars, who is from Clone Wars. They were saying that she's almost as popular as her, it seems. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, I can't speak to it. I could speak to the excitement that I had of being written into new movies. Everyone, like, every time Equestria Girls came out with another movie, it's like, this one's more centered around Sunset Shimmer. And I was like, amazing. So it was just kind of like being part of a really cool work of art and working through her story was really cool. So I think that maybe, if nothing else, because, like, the fans make the show. We don't make the show big and popular. We just try to go in and do our job as actors and be as authentic as we can, and just do a good job because we're actors. We just want approval. But it's really nice to know that characters are super popular. Or I think the reason maybe why Sunset's character is so popular is because she really you watch her live a story of redemption, of being super evil and then coming back and being learning and being humbled by the power of the love that she feels from all these other people, and that compassion. And I think that that's what's spoken to a lot of people because she was super mean. When my very first audition for her was like a few lines as a nasty, nasty high school girl, and then the rest of the lines were demon version of that. So I was like, you know, to be able to work through from a place of like the it's really like it can be a lot easier to play a villain because you're playing these extremes of uh, just dramatic extremes, and uh, and then to be able, then they basically send her into a pit of an explosion of friendship magic, and she's a quivering mess, and then she has to crawl out of that pit emotionally, mentally. The like man the uh, the the turnaround took about 2 or 3 movies before she developed any sense of confidence in herself again, because everything she'd built her world around was false. It was this false sense of power over, and it wasn't really the power of connections with other people. Until she learned how to do that, she wasn't feeling powerful anymore. So and then it was taking ownership of that power later too. So as things progress, it's like we can, you know, like uh, in Legend of Everfree, she's, you know, it's all about embracing that magic now, and she's being inspiring to other people. And so I guess if there's any way to say how um, Sunset Shimmer is as popular, maybe it's just because she's got a really raw and honest story.
I think a lot of people resonate
It wasn't
with
nice
that.
to begin with, and that's why people like her.
I think just a fun question. Was your evil teenage? I think you kind of touched on something there. Your evil high schooler voice different than the one you ended up settling with?
Um, no, I think, well, as far as like my audition, you mean, or
Yeah, because you said it was I wasn't sure if that was a different portrayal than you ended up with. Like, did you
no,
come in like
no, I really
different?
did. I really got cast as like that, like, and your little dog too. Like she was just snarly and nasty and awful. But they had to show the journey. The audition had to give them a sense that you knew how to be a big and like nasty spell casting beast as well. So there was the few lines at the beginning were like just, you know, in the high school in Canterlot High, and then the later ones were like outside of Canterlot High, where she's literally drooling and frothing at the mouth, and you know, just flames coming out of her eyes and such, you know.
Yeah, it was a fun character just in terms of her evolution in that regard. So yeah. Thanks, Rebecca. That's great. So there was a number of other questions, but I'll come back to you, Asela, just because we don't want to spend too long on one topic. Actually, this is for both of you. Any key memories that changed how you approached and played your characters, or maybe new inspiration as the characters kind of came to be what they were? Like that might have changed them for you? Like, was there any inspirations that you took along the way or in advance?
I think it was just that obviously when I did the audition, you know, I thought Ocelos was just kind of like shy and timid, but as I got into it, I realized, you know, once it was that was just like one side of her, that she really had a lot she actually wanted to say, and she actually has very strong points of views of things. So I think it was just kind of, yeah, like I said, letting her come out of her shell, and that was fun, that there was parts where she would start to like let herself do that, and I think that came from her trusting her group of friends so much. So yeah, it kind of just developed naturally over time that she wasn't just the shy bug, like that she, you know, she also was like super intelligent, and she really has some strong beliefs, and that she's just starting to speak up a little bit more. Yeah.
That's fair.
I think it's kind of a similar evolution for Sunset Shimmer, because as you move along and she develops that sense of groundedness and security within her friend group, you actually find out that she's quite a bit of a nerd in a lot of ways, and she likes the crew better than the stars, the band on the stage, and she's likes the socks, and she She digs on like, well, what are some of the other? She loves playing video games, and she's a gamer.
Yeah.
So all these things, you get to find out all these fun facts about her, and also she's still allowed to kind of hang on to a sense of like um, a little bit of sarcasm, which is kind of rare in a kids show. So I think Equestria Girls, because it was targeted to a slightly older audience, I was able to kind of keep a little bit of my swag, I guess, sort of like that, like sassy pants version of self without being nasty. So there was always that fine line, actually, as we were reading through a script. I don't want to come off sounding mean anymore. So you have to find the fun in it. And some lines might have had to be adjusted to not sound like nasty.
That makes sense, because I mean you're trying to, like you said, you portrayed the character, and now you're like, okay, so now she's not that anymore, and it's like, finding the fine balance. Someone asked the question here. This was Janice the Light asked, how would you have liked to see Equestria Girls end, since we're talking about Sunset Shimmer?
I would not ever want to see it end.
Yeah.
Fair.
Just keep it going. Just keep it going. We'll have we'll head to middle. We'll be camp counselors and head to middle school and teach Canterlot Middle School or something like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I can't really speak to that. I know there was a lot of people who were like, oh, I can't believe it's over, and that was the same for us too. We were just kind of in a bit of shock because there was no real sort of tied it in a bow, but yeah.
That's how it goes,
I'm
unfortunately,
just an
sometimes. Well, and then Devyn, so you were. It was also a question for you. If you could write one more episode for Asela's, this is again Janice the Light asked this question. What would you like to have happen in it? And we know, you're the actor. You're not necessarily the writer, but
there's so many things. When I think of Asela, I just always think of the Young Six, because it's like we come as one. I think it would just be so fun to see them kind of go on like an adventure, like almost like those school field trips where they go like abroad. Maybe they they go to Europe or something, or like something fun like that where they get up to all mischievous things and adventure. And I think like we would get to see maybe a lot of changeling things, because I think it'd be really I love when she gets to be a changeling. And yeah, I don't know why, I just always think like a big, like, just get them out of their elements, so to speak, but to see them kind of all like in a new little world, whether they're like in Japan or Paris or something fun like that. And although the reading yesterday inspired me that like a Clue episode would be super cool. I think kind of like honestly, I think that would actually be a really, really fun one. Something like that, just something adventurous would be great. And but keeping, I think, all the Young Six there would be really fun. And just getting to see them kind of maybe it's near like the end of school, so they're they're a little bit more mature now, and seeing Ocella's kind of take charge, like I think she kind of likes to lead the class. She'd be like, okay guys, this is the itinerary for the trip. I can see her like handing out a little itinerary and being like, we're going there and this, and keeping everyone like in check sort of while everyone goes off and like creates mayhem. I'm sure Yona would be over there smashing something, and like I'd have to go get her. And
she kind of reminded me of like a mixture between Fluttershy and Twilight in that regard, like the organized but shy one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little bit. That's a good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mix.
Totally.
Yeah. That's fun. Yeah, I can see that. Did you have a favorite episode that you liked working on? This is for both of you. This is Shed Tone asked that question.
Gosh, they're all so fun. Like I said, I love the Christmas episode. That was a fun one.
The carols and the exchanging presents thing.
Yeah, I thought it was super cute. It was really good.
The writers, whoever wrote that, you guys are masters. That was great.
Yeah, and then I don't know what episode, I forget now which one it was, but they were kind of like learning a cheer dance and stuff, and like Asela was like really quiet, trying to like learn the dance and stuff, but eventually she kind of like came out and got into it. That one was fun to record as well. I just remember having fun that day. Yeah, yeah, but they're all so much fun. It's hard for me to kind of choose one. I just remember like the days going into record were just the best, and yeah, I was always it was always a good day. So,
Rebecca, I know that you obviously were involved with different sides of the recording side. Were you actually often brought in with the like the voiceover people, or were you mostly just by yourself doing the singing side?
Well, for all of us, when we were doing the singing, we recorded individually, did multiple tracks, you know, working on an individual level, and stacking those so they sound like a big gang. Um, but when it came to the Equestria Girls records, for the most part, I was in with Andrea and Tabitha and Ashley and Kathy, and so it was great. That was when I got to like have my most fun because I got to watch those guys, especially once we'd reached doing Equestria Girls. I got an opportunity to really see them as they'd worked through many years of doing the show, um, and so weeks and weeks of working together and just watching them switch on a dime back and forth between characters and have conversations with themselves. It was mind blowing and so much fun. Um, but I seem to recall one particular episode that was quite funny where Andrea comes out of the water with a or Fluttershy rather comes out of the water with a snorkel, and so there were all these different versions of what it would sound like when she was talking with a snorkel. Like, you know how when you're talking with a snorkel in your mouth, you have like this, but it's also through a tube. So, and of course, it's Fluttershy's voice, so it's quite quiet. So, I think I have a photograph of Andrea with like a piece of script rolled up and speaking through a tube. And so it's fun, you know, you get to experience those like very creative moments and you know, have a good laugh. And yeah, it was pretty incredible to watch all those talented people do their thing. And then also I remember having a great time acting opposite Peter for Sugar Belle when I got to be Sugar Belle, and they were sort of falling in love but not, and sort of this awkwardness, but a very sweet relationship. And Peter got a lot more things to say than just yep, and so it was great.
And you did the song with Vincent Tong as well, I guess. It was part of
Oh,
that. That was super fun. His
That's
feather
so cool.
bangs, the Justin Bieber pony.
That's so funny. Yeah.
that was so much fun. That was so much fun. That episode was hilarious, and he did such a great feather bangs. The babes,
He
because
really
I've always known Vincent has an incredible pop singing voice, but he rarely gets a chance to kind of like shine like that. He was like, hey, like doing all of his licks and stuff. He's
Yeah.
just like, I think he years ago did a musical theater show where he was part of like this sort of like Backstreet Boys type of New Kids on the Block type of thing, and he got to be one of those like he got to use all of his hip hop skills and sing like that and stuff. So man, I wish I'd seen that show. Oh, speaking of seeing shows, I watched Adventures in Public School last night because because Kyle Rideout's film is
Oh,
Yeah,
available on CBC Gem. So if you haven't seen
so
it,
cool.
you go check it out. Oh my God, it was
hmm
so good, so good.
That's
Yay,
so cool.
Kyle! I'm sure Kyle's not watching
Yeah.
today, but big ups for his incredible directing and acting as always. But it was
Yeah.
such a joy to watch.
We were
That's so cool.
really excited to have Kyle here yesterday. For those of you who weren't able to join us yesterday, we had Kyle right out here yesterday. He was
Yeah.
right here, actually. But yes, no, definitely go check that out. The name of it, I'm sorry, I forgot the name again. It was
Adventures in Public School.
Adventures in Public School. That's not on my notes for today. I actually want to check that out. I will.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so Rebecca, actually, since we got you, with the portal permanently open, do you think Sunset takes regular trips to Equestria? That's Coaster Brony asked that one.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because she's patched things up with Celestia, and so she's got more stuff to learn from Princess Celestia, and she misses Canterlot Twilight, and she's also on a journey to find another version of herself too. Because there's all these like there's ponies and humanoid characters, versions of them. So why wouldn't there be another version of her? I just made that up.
It's another episode.
It makes a lot of sense. I think one that I think a lot of people are asking here is, what would Asela say if she were to meet Sunset Shimmer?
Oh gosh.
And vice versa.
Yeah, I think she would be a little bit like starstruck, like because for Ocella's too, I think like she really looks up to a lot of them, and then seeing now, like obviously now that you're like not mean and things, and like I think she would just like be eager to learn something, because she's always like so attentive in class, and anyone who kind of has like more knowledge or something to share, she really wants to be. I think Ocella's just really wants to be the best version of herself, and she's really eager to go out of her little realm, you know, like she wanted to stay at school, she didn't want to go back home, like she really wants to. I think she's a little more worldly now, and so I think she would just be eager to learn something. I think she would want to kind of shadow and learn something from Starlight Shimmer. Teach me. What do you know?
I think Sunset Shimmer would have to. It would be a unique thing for her because she wouldn't know changelings very well necessarily.
Yeah.
So
she'd be like, so I can teach you how to play video games, but show me how you do that thing where you like imitate everybody again. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. No, that'd be fun.
Sunset would probably like try to like run experiments on her pony
probably
take some of her changeling wing and like
and then
do some
the
science
Ocella's would
experiments.
be like, I should have known. But I think that's a sweet thing too. Ocella's, I think, feels like she sees the best in people. So yeah. It could go two ways this episode.
I don't think it would be nefarious. It would just simply be like, I need to understand the magic. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, and that was always, of course, something that was just left to the imagination, how the even changeling magic worked.
Yeah, I'm wondering too.
Yeah, like I mean, there's an awful lot of energy that happens when they transition between shapes, and it's like,
yeah,
wow.
I would love to learn that too. So this would be cool.
Sunset's pretty powerful. I think she could figure it out.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll work it out together, the two of us.
Good.
Did either of you watch the original generations of My Little Pony? That's Us by Raindrops.
I definitely did as a like I mean I remember My Little Pony. Like, who doesn't know My Little Ponies? I remember the toys. I remember the show. I know more about it now, like obviously because I was a kid, so I was just like, yay. And then I kind of wasn't watching it as much, and then now like I'm more into it, especially just because of you guys and how much you've like opened, like, you know, you work on a show sometimes, but sometimes you don't watch the shows or understand, but I really wanted to know more, so I started kind of like watching stuff then. And especially when you start to see the characters, and like it actually is such a great show, and that's why I always say to people now, I'm like, no, like it's really not just for kids, like it's for everyone, I swear. and so I think like, yeah, once I was on the show, it opened my eyes up to like, and got me more interested in wanting to know more about like the original and how it began and how the story has evolved, because there's so many seasons, and you know, yeah. But I've of course knew it as a kid, and then now as an adult, more so. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Did you watch it, Rebecca?
The older generations?
Yeah. Original generations is what the question was. Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of ponies, or like a handful of them. But when I was a kid, I think the show hadn't been developed, because I'm a little bit older, you see. So it was sort of it wasn't in my age range when I was the age of watching that show. Do you know what I mean? I'd sort of outgrown it at a certain point. and I don't know what I would have been watching instead of, but maybe
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo. I don't know.
Like She-Ra or whatever else was on back then.
Well, yeah, I definitely watched a lot of He-Man for sure. But
that was my jam growing up too. So yeah.
so I think, and also I have an older brother, and so there was always like that. You know, you have to work with what everybody else wants to watch. And my younger sister really wanted to watch Care Bears, and I think it's around that time that Ponies was happening. But I've seen some since. But man, the show has evolved so much, and even the newer generation. To be honest, I haven't seen the newer stuff yet because pandemic. I don't know. I just.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask, Rob, was that when people write in their questions, can you ask them to say where they're from? Because I love the fact that because we're in a virtual experience, like it sucks that we can't see everybody and see all the awesome vendors and all that. But what's so cool about having a virtual platform is that we get to know where people are from in the world.
Let's do. I completely agree with you, Rebecca, and actually I was going to make a call out after this next question. So good lead. No, it was great. It was a great segue. I was going to actually ask everyone, can you please make sure that everyone in the main stage chat on Discord, just quickly type where you're from. Just city, state, country, wherever you feel like. Just quickly type it in, and we'll get that in the next 30 seconds or so. There's a bit of delay on the stream, so. But yeah, great suggestion, Rebecca. Absolutely. Oh, we've got a lot here. Kansas, Nanaimo, France, Vancouver, Germany, Vancouver, Tempe, Arizona, Ontario, Dallas, Fort Worth, Germany, Edmonton, UK, Vegas, Illinois. My goodness. Los Angeles, West Vancouver. Oh, there, West Vancouver, not too far away. UK, Los Angeles, again, St. Louis, pardon me, Germany, New Jersey. Okay, so everywhere.
I love it. I love that
everyone.
Hi, everyone from all over the world.
So cool.
Yeah, California, Germany. Lots of Germans today.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You guys are staying up. You guys are staying up late.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
More like good Nacht.
Good Nacht or Guten Arbor, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but, hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's awesome. Yeah, and Ireland, Argentina. There you go. Hey,
so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, there we go. So we'll get some more questions here. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who's asking questions. We're taking questions on the mainstream chat, so if you do have anything, I can't promise I'm going to get to all of them. We're just trying to get through them as best we can, and once I can find this chat again. We have so many chats as staff members. All right, there we go. So where was it here? So we talked about the evolution of the fandom and the evolution of the show, and obviously the fandom followed suit because the show evolved, and it became what we all knew as Generation 4 and Equestria Girls and Pony Life and everything else since then. But you've both been to a few conventions, and kind of been out there. You talked about how you love, Devyn, you love the Vendors Hall, and you like to check things out there. And Rebecca, I know you told me you've always told me you really enjoy the experience at a convention. And the question was from Bolt. Actually, he asked, do you have a cool or funny story from a convention or something you just enjoyed that you saw?
Gosh, it's just such a. I think there's so much fun. For one, there's so much fun seeing everyone's outfits. For one, I'm always inspired. You guys come up with the coolest stuff, and it's always there's always laughs. I just know that anytime I go, I'm always laughing, I'm always smiling, and I just feel exhausted in the end in the best way. It's just and I just did one recently here with Ellie Ray, and I'd never met Ellie Ray before either, and she's a hoot. She was just a blast, and we had a lot of fun, and I think the vendor halls are my favorite, but I guess this one isn't so much a funny story. It was just more touching. There was just a lot of people who stood up and we kind of had a heart to heart and just kind of really shared truly what the show has done for them, and really opened up about maybe some really hard times, which is probably we can all relate to in these last couple years here, especially.
Oh boy.
And just how much the show like helped them get through some really like pivotal like traumas in their life, and also how they just like finally found a place with like their family. Like you said, like we're a family, and once you show up, you're kind of just know like you can just fully be yourself, and you'll be accepted and praised, and it's just such a, I just found it like really beautiful, and I remember it really, you know, almost brought me to tears really, some of the stories, and it was very like thanks for sharing really, because we all have those things and it's not easy to talk about. So it's kind of maybe more the more serious side of it, but in like the best way possible, just people really coming up and sharing like this was happening for me, this is what the show brought me, and that is just like so special to be a part of. And it's equally done the same thing for me, being a part of that. So it was just like a very bonding. We had a big like heart to heart. Yay.
Kumbaya moment.
Yeah, totally. But other than that, like it's always wacky and hilarious. The costumes are so much fun. The music that is set up is super cool. Like and it's just meeting everyone from around the world too.
I know that Sam Dash said that you were amazing with Ellie at TrotCon.
Sam. Yeah, no, he's awesome. And again, just like that. So now, like, you know, I have a friend in Germany, Sam. You know, who we've just like bonded through the conventions, and that's just it, is getting to like make connections with people you never would have had a chance to meet, but you have like these things in common, and you just get to kind of share that, and you escape like the rest of the world. Like you said, you're just in like pony world for a while, and it's so cool.
How about
and
you?
Refreshing.
No, for sure. How about you, Rebecca? That's any fun stories?
Well, some of the parts, some of my favorite parts of the convention, besides all of the incredible creativity that I get to see, are the families that come. Sometimes it's like a family of friends who have been created through the internet, which is so cool. Like people who are meeting from different cities all over the world to come together and have that sense of family and that sense of security and acceptance, like Devyn was saying. And sometimes it's like at BronyCon years ago, it was like I got to be part of this sort of, I just said, I want to be part of the family room, like where the kids get to go. You know, it is ideally, you know, initially it was written for it to be a children's show, but I love that a whole family will come, like 3 generations of a family will come, all in cosplay, just to support this fun experience that is My Little Pony, and support their kids, or support the middle generation, which is like these people were bronies first, and then they've had babies, and now their babies are dressed up as ponies, and it's like it's mind-boggling. Like I love the so I like being part of the music room. Like we did karaoke one day, and you just get, for me, I'm just like I'm a parent, so I get to watch the parents at the back room, like, you know, some have taken a load off. It's hard going to a convention, let alone having like toddlers in tow. It can be a lot of work, but also getting to be able to be that, like, the musician side of myself, where we get to entertain, we get to, let's do a dance party to this song, and that kind of stuff is always fun. Another thing that I was so impressed with was, or have been impressed with, is how the community has been really wise and forward thinking, and just cutting edge in how to handle neurodiversity, and how people of all different cultures can come, and people from all different neurodiversity backgrounds can come and find a sense of belonging and a sense of safety in this community. So you know, I remember at one particular convention, they had on their lanyards, they had, for the kids, but also for people who are older and neurodivergent, had a green circle, a yellow square, and wait, I can't remember what the shapes were, but it was green, yellow, and red. And green is like I'm good for talking and communication. Yellow is I'm feeling a little bit shy, and red's like time out. I need space. And so that gave me a really good clue for how to interact with them. And it was great for them to be able to signal, and it's because a convention in its normal sense, not like this, but a convention in its not, bigger state, a physical experience can be really overwhelming energetically for a lot of people. Even, I mean, man, I wish I had those tags some days, just like living life right now. Just learning how to reestablish myself in society is like sometimes like, we're all healing from a big trauma. So I kind of hope that we can incorporate those types of learnings into everyday life. That's something that the conventions, I think, and the Brony community has really taught me that like heightened awareness of that, which is really beautiful.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. It's in running conventions as long as I have. I've run fan conventions for 16 years, and it's been a long lesson in what you just said, Rebecca, of acceptance. And we talked about this last night in one of the panels I ran, how fandom seems to be kind of it's a melting pot of everyone who wanted somewhere to feel like they belonged.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great example of that, and I love this fandom for that reason. It's great.
Yeah, and that's why it lives on, and it will continue to live on, which is so great because it's much more than just the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've got a couple more questions, and I think we might wrap things up here. It says, to everyone from Maryland, do you have a favorite piece of fan art you've received? Speaking of conventions.
Oh, favorite. Well, I have so many pins. I think I really, really, really wanted a plushie, and I have like this big one at home. Oh yeah, we've got it. Just if Rebecca would sit in one spot.
I know, Rebecca, if you keep moving around, Rebecca, like
and my head keeps getting bigger and bigger sometimes.
it's these magical powers you have,
Or it's my ego.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She already knows how to be a changeling, and she's not telling us. Which, what the heck? But that was. So, I mean, I've got like this great coffee mug. And the drawings are beautiful. I have one that I'm actually going to frame and put in my bathroom because it's it's really beautiful drawing of Ocelis, and it looks like super magical, and she looks a little bit different, obviously, than in the show. But some of it just is really stunning. But I was definitely, that I've got like a drawing at home, and then my plushie, which was done by Hibiscus Switch.
Oh, yes.
Is that my saying?
Very talented, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she did this little one as well.
Hibiscus Stitch, I believe it is.
Stitch. Of course, that would make more sense. Duh. But she did my big one that I have at home, and I was like hunting for one forever, and I would go to the cons, and there was some, but I wasn't seeing like specifically, so she made that specifically for me and mailed it to me, and that was like, I was like, yay! I mean, I was like running around holding my plushie like a kid again, basically. So
that's so cute.
I think that's my favorite one.
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I just like Devyn was saying, I love all the art. I'm wearing one of my a gift. Ooh, can you see it?
Yeah.
I'm wearing like a little Sunset Shimmer bracelet that somebody put in a gift for me. Like, it's just everybody's so generous, and it's so beautiful to see. I love when people reinterpret characters and put their own spin on things, and I love when super skilled artisans get in there, with like plushies and like hand sewing and and paper ponies, those really cool 3D framed images that are like cutout things, and it's been so cool to see all the cool art, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna have to have a room built just
yeah, I know, just a shrine of everything.
A Sunset Shimmer shrine.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's
one of those
question.
creepy doll cupboards, like all the creepy dolls sort of like shoved up.
Totally.
It's like you open it, it's just the evil version of Sunset just going. Staring out. this is a fun question, actually. This is from Gajinka. I think I'm saying that right. Gajinka. Didn't say where they're from, though. But what's the most interesting stunt you have done, Devyn? Coming away from Pony a bit.
I think this is the same that I'm thinking about. We've met just recently. Was in Ohio, and she was there. Yeah. Yay! Love that you guys are tuning in. Oh yeah, what was the question? My favorite stunt?
Your favorite stunt you've done, yeah.
My favorite stunt. Ooh. This is always a tricky one, again, because each thing is so different. It's like, favorite, I have... Favorite. I think... Yeah,
okay. Most unique, I guess.
Yeah, favorite is hard to choose. It's hard to choose because they're really, like, everything's so different that you do. But I can say some things that I stuck out to me that were maybe one of them. It was very early in my stunt career, and it was just this one, like, you know, got my adrenaline going a little bit, and it was like it was a little bit scary at first because I was quite new into stunts, and this was in Fringe show, but it was like this young boy kind of walks out onto this frozen lake because he's trying to go through like a time portal or something like that, and he ties a brick around his waist and he drops it through the ice so that he can sink to the bottom and go through, and then his mom comes running to save him, obviously. But we did it on an actual frozen over lake with an actual cutout hole, and they were actually putting like my wetsuit was a little bit big, so my dry suit actually was a little bit big, so I wasn't sinking enough, so we were actually putting like weights and stuff on me, and it was freezing, and I'm like, I didn't think, like, you know, I thought we would just build a fake set of ice and I would fall through, but like, no, we're going out on the actual frozen lake and you're going under. So It was like it was just a day where like your adrenaline was going. You were like, okay, here we go. And then when we put the rocks in like my boots and stuff, I'm like, okay, here we go. But of course it was set up like great. You know, the biggest thing with stunts is even though you're doing something dangerous, it's set up to be as safe as we can do it. Like that's the goal, obviously, because we don't want anyone to get hurt, and that's why we hire stunt performers. So it's all about safety, really. But I learned a lot that day, so it was a very memorable time in my career because I was new to stunts. It was something that I obviously had never done before because who does that? So I really remember that one, and I learned a lot, and it was so fun. And at the end of the day, I felt just like I was really proud of myself. And it also opened up my eyes to, like, you know, a big appreciation for stunts and how much, like, they do and the crazy stuff that they do to make, like, this magical moment for people, for a couple hours of popcorn eating, so to speak.
Might be half a second on the screen.
And, totally. Yeah. And then another fun one I did was for Percy Jackson Sea of Monsters. I did a couple ratchet poles, they're called. So these are big wire poles where it's hooked up to a machine and you kind of fly across the room. And it was my first time doing a ratchet pole. So again, I was learning a lot. You're on the wire, you're flying. But it was a cool scene where I got to double... I forget the character's name now, but she was one of the main girls, and she was a teenager, but she was obviously very tall, and I was short, but we were trying to do forced perspective to make the giant look even bigger, so they brought me in to do the wire pole, because then they didn't have to size me down or scale me down. They could just shoot real time. And so that was a really fun one, too. The set was really cool, and we had, like, the big giant character who was throwing me. And so that was a lot of fun. And again, I just learned a lot and just like fling across the room. So it's always fun. It's fun because it's always new and you don't always know on the day. Things with stunts, lots of times you get hired and you bring your stunt bag is what it's called. And you have all your stuff in there. So you got your harnesses, all your different pads that you could need. And you don't always know what you're going to get up to. Obviously, if it's a big stunt, like we did rehearsals for that because you can't just wing that one. You've got to do many rehearsals. Yeah. But again, those ones I learned so much, and it's always fun when you push yourself to do something new, and then you have this moment of wow, and you're kind of proud of yourself. So I was at the end of those ones, I was like, oh, I think I can do this.
Pull this off.
Yeah, but there's so many, honestly. Yeah, it's hard to choose a favorite, but those were learning experiences for me, and they took me out of my comfort zone. And now I feel really comfy on the wire, and I'm like, okay, fling me.
That's I got to say that not something that you can ask many people. How was your experience getting thrown by this wire over there?
It's pretty cool that you take risks in your job. Like it's not just, it's just that willingness to take risks too, right? Like,
Yeah.
that you take such bravery. I applaud you.
Yeah.
So we had it. Well, thank you, Devyn.
Thanks.
That was really cool. And I think this will be the final question before we go to our penultimate question here. That's actually the wrong word, but either way. Rebecca, this is from Gary Oak over in Nanaimo, BC. Do you find it more fun to portray evil characters or good characters? Or maybe something in the middle?
Wow. Fun. I think there's you get to have a bit more artistic license to be an evil character, honestly, because you can really let those parts of yourself out that, we censor ourselves daily, right? So if you can go deep into those dark places, it can be a lot of fun, to be honest. Yeah. I'd pick an evil girl for sure.
I think that seems to be the common answer. It's like, would you want to be a villain or do you want to be good? It's like most people say, I want to be a villain. It's just like, it could be fun.
It's like a safe place to be villainous and to obviously, it's not something like you said you're going to do in your daily life or, so it's fun.
And
right.
it's challenging to be extremely kind. Right? Like to be the extremely nice one. Like, no, usually the hero is just like fairly neutral, to be honest. Could go either way. But
yeah, that's fair. Well, all right, and the final question I'm going to ask here of both of you, and this was just a general opinion. This is again from Gary Oak, from Nanaimo. How does it feel to know that the Friendship is Magic had a better series finale than Game of Thrones?
Oh, I didn't even. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think we'll leave it on that one though. But yeah. Any final parting comments, Devyn?
I know. I just want to say it's always such a pleasure to come here, and thank you for asking your questions. One day we'll have to do like a reverse panel where we get to ask you the questions. But thanks so much, fun. And I love seeing like all the new faces that are here on the chat, and also very familiar ones. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, friendship really is magic.
And the
Rebecca.
Magic of friendship grows. It's pretty. Yeah, it is. It's pretty amazing. Thanks to the crew who enabled me to be like virtually sitting right here with you guys. This is pretty
that's cool too.
I don't even know how many people are running this convention here. Like,
we have a crew.
Can we thank some people on the
my
the
goodness,
behind the scenes people?
It is a heck of a long list, but it's we have a good number of people. There's about 40 to 50 people that are currently helping make this happen or have made this happen. So to each of you that are on the crew of Vancouver, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you
from
guys
all
so
over,
much.
Yeah, and thank you from all over the world, too. I mean, not just the people here in person that agreed to take the chance of, obviously exposure. There is a very real chance of that right now, and everybody was aware of that, and they're still here anyway, doing the best we can, masking up and sanitizing. And so thank you to everyone that makes this happen. Thank you to Devyn and to everyone that was able to come in person. And Rebecca, we send our regrets that you were still able to join us nonetheless, and that's real, and that's awesome. Not regrets for that, but regrets that you weren't able to be here. So we made it work, and we're happy to have both of you, and thank you so much today for
Thank you, and thank you for being a lovely host.
Oh,
thanks, Rob.
I say the words and it happens.
Exactly, but it's not easy. I don't know if I'd be so good at that part.
And on the side of wrapping up here, we are actually still selling autographs and meet and greets for each of these lovely ladies. So if you would like to meet Rebecca Shoichet or to Devyn Dalton, if you'd like to meet them over Zoom, them, they are more than willing to do that. We're actually going to be doing that in the next hour or so. You still have a chance to buy your pass. So that's $30 for a meet and greet. That includes an autograph that we ship to you, plus shipping, of course. And then $20 for an autograph that will be personalized to you and shipped to you. And so you can still buy those along with lots of other cool swag if you go to vancouver.ca/shop. And I said that wrong yesterday. It's vancouver.ca/shop. And we'll be doing that soon. So thank you, everyone, for your attention today, and we will see you online. And by the way, hi, Ponytown. Hi, VR chat. Hope you're having fun. Everybody in Ponytown, I want everyone to start jumping right now.
Whoa.
There you go.
Earthquake.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Can I float? I gotta float.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta float.
Float away. Bye.
Yeah. Gotta do that. Gotta do. Yeah.
She's growing.
Oh, here comes. No, he's coming. Here we go. She's growing. She's larger. She's becoming mega Sunset Shimmer again. Oh, now she's floating. Ah! No, careful. She's bouncing over here.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.